A glossy cage syndrome. Most of the time, when we speak of syndromes, the victim is a person who is getting affected. But when it comes to glossy cage syndrome, it might not necessarily be the victim, but it can also be a group disorder. Okay, so first let us analyze what exactly a glossy cage syndrome is. From a lot of places, irrespective of either the richest or the poorest, there has been glass ceiling both within the person and within a group of people. So by group of people, I mean it can either be family or a friend circle or a business circle, a social circle or your romantic circle, etc. So when we speak of a glossy cage syndrome, this is probably a place where you are binded by things that you do not know what. Like for example, a princess is expected to behave only in a certain way. If she refuses to behave in a certain way, or if she actually crosses the line, there have been terrible side effects that are not really materialistic. For example, the Sussex of England, the previous Sussex of England, Meghan Markle has been a bigger victim of this glossy cage syndrome. So she was expected to do certain things a certain way, and when she failed, it created a human public opinion. So even though she had all the riches in the world, even though she had everything one could possibly dream of, she was not able to live her life in the best way. Living inside the palace ground but within a cottage. The same happened with the poorest people as well, but in a different way. They have their own set of traditional lines that they have drawn for themselves, which they always fear crossing. The way they dress, the number of people they interact with, the kind of expressional freedom they give their kids, the kind of setup that they have their spouse within. When it comes to females, it's about the kind of social circles her husband spends time with, and when it comes to the man, it's a kind of any sort of control that he puts on, that he levies on his wife, that would actually have an impact on how much her self-growth is, or the self-development is. The time we have on earth is strictly provided for profound self-development, self-improvement and spiritual upliftment. By spiritual upliftment, I meant getting your soul more matured and understanding that there are more than one perspective that exists, and understanding the world from a different point of view. But when this glossy cage syndrome comes into effect, you are restricted. Either you restrict or you are restricted of the kind of experiences you could have. Like this is a precise definition of the glossy cage syndrome. Restricting or being restricted of the kind of experience you can have. So this might happen due to limited resources, which is obviously not one of the factors that contributes it. Like for example, if you are not rich and you are forbidden from flying in a plane because you do not have money, that does not come under glossy cage syndrome. But if someone says, irrespective of you having money, you should not be flying in a plane because of so and so reasons. Could be because of fear. There is a higher probability of you getting crashed in air, so you're not supposed to fly on a plane. Or people's brutal or superstitious beliefs, or whatsoever be the reason. If you are being restricted, there is a cage above you that is not really physical, but you sometimes feel it. And the reason why this has become a syndrome and not just an disorder or not just an behavioral thing is, once you have been accustomed to it, this comes in different forms to different kinds of people. Some people have the freedom to explore different parts of the world, but their mental abilities do not surpass a certain point. They still don't believe in what it sounds to be expressive. They are more guarded within themselves. And some people, they do not go places, but they are more expressive and they have dominant traits within them. Some people dress out in extremely modest fashion, thinking this is exactly what it is to be living a conservative life or to live a decent life. Whereas some strip naked while still keeping up their modesty in terms of actions and behaviors. So different people have different measurements and metrics to measure how they are keeping up with the standards or how they are keeping up with their own inner abilities. But when it comes to glossy case syndrome, the reason why this becomes an issue is when someone tells you repeatedly that you are not supposed to do this, or you are not allowed to do this, or this is something that is not actually permitted here. So things like that, when those unsaid rules come into play, or when rules come into play, which humans are more accustomed with, and when humans glorify themselves for actually creating the rules, that creates a glass ceiling on your own mindset. So the physical outcomes of these actions are not a point of this glossy case syndrome, but the mental reaction that it creates. A person, before they come up with an idea, tends to think of all of these limiting factors. For example, a person who has grown up in a village, who does not have a certain who has not been accustomed to dressing in a sleeky, fashionable way. So when he or she comes up to a city, when he or she thinks up of taking a glamorous job, so the immediate thought that comes to a point is, okay, the way I dress wouldn't be of a suitable fit here. So how can I be a right candidate? Or a person who has been accustomed towards not speaking up. So when he or she said, you should not put your opinions aloud in front of people. That might be of disrespect to someone else. When they are told these words repeatedly, he or she refuses to stand up in an organization that would actually mean a lot of professional dominance for him or her. So all of these are not the thought about outcomes of why people accustomed you to certain things. It is very prominent in a lot of families to actually tell their kids not to speak up against elders as a sign of respect. But how does a kid understand it? How does he or she process it? Makes a lot of difference. If he or she thinks everyone elder to me deserves respect, sometimes over a period of time, this develops into a fear that I shouldn't speak up in front of them. And this reflects in other attributes of life in a completely different way. Though right now we have a lot of awareness, we do know what things are. The question lies between, do we really know what things are? Because if you do, you would not have a glass ceiling on top of you, but 8 out of 10 people run with such a glass ceiling. This has been deeply incriminated within ourselves through a lot of forms, starting from religion, wherein you have so many unsaid conditions, like this shouldn't be done after 6 p.m. This shouldn't be done during a waning moon time. This shouldn't be done during a waxing moon. This shouldn't be done at 6 a.m. and that shouldn't be done at 6 p.m. With so many conditions coming in, it's just like how you see a black cat and you come to a conclusion that something evil is on the way. A black cat is not a black omen. The mindset under which you drive after you see a black cat, literally taking your hands off the steering or not believing in yourself when you drive, that causes chaos, not the black cat. And so there are so many things like this that are deeply incorporated within our mindset that are conscious, or sometimes even the subconscious is not totally aware of it. Some call it intuitive understanding, but is intuitive understanding just standard, or is intuitive understanding just common to all? Your intuitive connection is different from my intuitive connection. So if you're trying to tell me that this is how an intuitive connection looks like, or this is exactly what is a symptom for that, darling, it's not a human body where reactions happen. It's a universe, it's a world where everything operates on its independent being, combined together to create an environment for you. If you keep a plant inside your home, the plant affects the kind of environment you get, the kind of aura you get, because of a various reason. Keeping a tulasi plant inside your home does not bring divinity. It purifies your purifies the air around you, and provides medicinal value. For a lot of other reasons, people worship it. Honestly, I do not know what the reasons are, but if you ask me whether will that bring good luck or so, it brings good health, not a good luck. Things are completely different. But when all of these combine together to a superstitious mind, or to a mind that easily observes and does not analyze, that's where things gets complicated. You might be the person who's creating this glossy case syndrome for someone. You might be putting this glass ceiling on top of someone, or you might be living yourself under this glass ceiling. So the reason why it's a glossy case syndrome and not a glass case syndrome is because most of the time the things we glorify are glossy to look at. Just like how, if you have seen the epic movie Ponniyin Selvan, you would have heard the queen say, விலங்குகள் தங்கத்தினால் மாட்டினாலும் விலங்கு விலங்குதானே, which actually means even if the chains are made of gold, the chains still hold you back. For which the other person replies, the key is always within our hands, isn't it? Well, that's so true. The key is always within your hands. But not many of us actually know how to use the key, or never mind, you do know how to use the key. Do you have the courage to do so? Do you have the strength to do so? Or are you confident enough to do so? Because sometimes you just keep on postponing the time to use the key for a lot of reasons. Could be because you're afraid of causing an outcome for someone else, or it could be because you have developed a lot of insecurity within yourself that is preventing you from using the key, or hundreds of other reasons. But on the whole, if you're getting to know about this today, ask yourself, what is preventing you from living your life the way you would want to live, you would aspire to live? What do you think is missing in your life right now? And why do you think it's missing in your life right now? Is there anything you could do today to make your life better? And if there is anything, are you ready for it? Being ready does not mean being ready in terms of resources, which I thought it was, and I've been kidding myself, and I know that. If you think you're mentally prepared to actually do so, if you think you can establish a trust process just for yourself, you're all set to get started. Trust me, many times the glass ceiling is just on top of ourselves, and all we need to do is not to break it, just to move it. You just open the ceiling and come out of it. And the lid is as light as the air. But many times what stops us from doing that? Is your mindset. Everything starts and ends in your mind. And this journey that you're living on earth is purely for your self-development. It's for you to explore, experience. You're put in this world just to gain experience. To experience. The last line was a mistake. You're put in this earth not to gain experience, but to experience. To experience everything that is there. From the windfall until the snowfall. From the mountains until the seas. To interact, relish, and learn from every person you meet, from every person out there. Good or bad, protagonist or antagonist. Everyone has something or the other to teach you. And the minute you start learning from everyone around you, that is your curve of self-development. If you think something is hindering your experience or your self-development, ask yourself, why are you waiting? Sometimes your why is deep enough. It actually is deep enough. And sometimes your why has a legit reason. If you believe it, it's okay. Where you are is never wrong. The place you are in right now, you are there for a reason. But if you think there's a voice behind your head that's telling you this is not where you should be somewhere else, that's your chance to get started. To spread your wings, walk out, open the gas ceiling, and get started. So until next time, I hope you open the glass case.